You need to understand, Omar, God stopped producing properties on the ocean. Whatever was produced when the world was created, and that's it.
That's what we have.
Nothing else. An incredible, irreplaceable piece of land in Fisher Island. We will get it. We will get it. We will get it. And guess what? Always I was looking, for bigger deals. Always I was looking to work with good partners.
I don't think there's anybody more optimistic and bullish in South Florida right now than you are. And a lot of people would say that about me.
And I'll tell you what, at the end of the day, what's going to happen is
all right, Isaac Toledano, I could not be more excited to be having a conversation with someone right now.
Same here.
So,
happy to see you.
Through my partner, Jared Turkel, I've had the good fortune of getting to know you and closing, I think, over $200 million worth of deals in 12, 24 months, even though Jared's known you for 15 years. And it didn't always start with $100, $200 million deals, I imagine. So I want to go back to the beginning. And were you born in the U.S.? Did you come to the U.S.? At what age were you? Give me some background story. Because every time I'm on the phone with you, I'm on the phone for 30 seconds and it's, let's go, rapido, vamos, close the deal, send the money. And now we've got an hour to talk.
So I arrived to the United States in 1999, met Liat, my wife, which she's here in the United States most of her life since she was 6 years old. And got married in Israel and we arrived to the United States, to Miami, 1999. Today, thank God, we have 8 kids. We have a granddaughter and the family is growing fast. Started here in the United States as a mortgage broker.
Okay.
This was my first job that affiliated with the real estate world. I was doing mortgages, residential mortgages, matter of fact. And in 2001, started buying real estate. I started with the first deal, 600,000 square feet warehouse. $600,000 warehouse off Hallandale and I-95.
Okay.
Second building, small apartment building with retail store in Hollywood Boulevard on US 1. Mm-hmm. Then 2 apartment buildings in North Miami. And all the rest is history.
There's a lot of history that we'll get into. So your first deal where you're putting your money or you're investing with people was $600,000, a warehouse?
Yeah.
So this was in the early 2000s. And how old were you when you decided to do your first investment like that?
This was 25 years old.
25 years old.
Yeah.
Okay. And at the time, how did the opportunity come to you? Do you remember? Were you actively looking for deals?
A friend of mine told me that there is a seller that is in a need for cash because he's moving out of state and he wants to liquidate everything. Mm-hmm. I went to see the property. I made a couple of calls. I spoke to a friend of mine in appraisal. He told me that the property is worth about $1.4 million, $1.5 million. So I knew I'm getting a great deal. And it took me about 3 days to execute. We closed on the property. And guess what? About 8 months after, I flipped it for big profit. Yeah. Same thing on that building on US 1 in Hollywood Boulevard. It was a great opportunity. Bought the building, I think, for $400,000, sold it for like $3 million. Mm-hmm. Then a couple of apartment buildings in North Miami.
Like multifamily buildings?
Multifamily. It's hot today. It was hot then. Yeah. It's always a safe investment.
It always feels hot when you're doing it, right? Like it's like.
That's correct. Listen, I'm saying we're in a hot state and a hot real estate market, even though in Florida has had upside downs in the past, like roller coaster going up, down. Yeah. What we see for the last 5-6 years, it's very strong and it's very real. It's here to stay. And I think it's only going to get stronger and stronger and better.
Yeah. Well, talk to me about, so you were doing $600,000 deals, $1 million deal. I guess talk to me, when did you do a deal that you feel like put you on another level as it relates to, $5 million, $20 million? Because now, it just seems you're closing $20 million deals 10 days from letter of intent, right? I'm sure it didn't start that way.
Absolutely. So the big deals came. We did, with some partners, bunch of condo conversions in 2004. Okay. Acquired over $100 million of properties. Wow. And we made a lot of money at that time. Condo conversion was a very hot product where you're basically buying an existing apartment building, doing some upgrades, sales and marketing materials, brochure, condo docs. And when the demand for condos was very strong at that time, it was easy to sell them. We made a lot of money. always I was looking, for bigger deals. Always I was looking to work with good partners. The model didn't change until today. We always like prime real estate, and we like to JV with good and strong partners that have the ability with us together to execute.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess talk to me about your relationship with George Perez. When did you meet him? You've done a lot of deals with him. When I call you, you say he's in the car next to you. And when did that start?
So I met with a friend of mine and a business partner about 12 or 13 years ago. We did our first deal with George Perez and with the family, with the Perez family and the related group. We became very close friends, doing a lot of deals together. There is a lot of trust between us. And we're trying always to keep it in between the families, like George's family, my family. I own the business along with my wife, Liat. She works with me as well, as much as she can. As a mother to 8 is not easy, but we own the company together. Yeah. And everything that we have, we own together. We build everything together. The family, the wealth, the real estate. Yeah. And working with George, with his kids, with JP, with Nick, it's a real pleasure. It's an incredible family, hardworking people, very honest, very straight, great vision. I don't think that there is many other people in the world that know how to execute like George and JP and Nick and the team around them. Today, it's like normal when we're getting a deal done. I'm picking up the phone, I'm calling George or calling JP or calling Nick, offering him the deal. If they like it, we'll do a deal. If they don't like it, we'll move on. Yeah. But we became very close friends, very transparent relationship. And it's easy to do the next one and the next one when you have already the relationship in place. Yeah, I've seen people offer you in the past different relationships and things like that. Not that you've only exclusively worked with George your whole career, but you typically say like, I want to work with George if I can. And you give him priority, I want to say. And it's interesting to just see, a lot of that loyalty over the years, which is something I know we talk a lot about. So we do have other partners that we do business with, great partners, a lot of smart people that we do business with. But with George, it feels a little bit more different than the others because we became very close friends and we trust each other. George saying that I have a very good nose and very good instinct on finding properties. He's calling me the optimistic one. And I like it when George sometimes is the pessimistic one and we putting together, we brainstorm together and he say why the deal is not good. And I say why the deal is good. And together we either agree to proceed or not. But in addition to George, we have a lot of other good partners like Coulter, Bobby Julian and his team, amazing people to work with. Peb. Peb Enterprises, Ian Winner, incredible guy. We became very close friend. Lennar. And we're trying to do a lot of deals with a lot of good partners that can help us to execute, partners that we can trust, partners that have big infrastructure in place, that we can be focused on getting the next deal done. Mm-hmm. And we prefer to make less money. It's like my wife always tells me, I don't want to make 100% of the profit. I prefer to make 50% of the profit, but we will have someone that will share with us the risk, the work, the day-to-day, the headaches, the obligations, the operations. And I think it's a good structure. Yeah, I think something that you've done particularly well that I'm so impressed with is, sometimes when we're doing deals together with Jared Turkel and Scott Wadler, we introduce you to a new partner like Ian, for example, at Peb. And not only are you doing that deal with Ian because he's bringing a lot of resources and, market dynamic that maybe you don't have and you complement each other, but within 6 months, 12 months, you're on your second deal and third deal and fourth deal with Ian. And it's just so interesting to see how much you dive into relationships and wanting to grow relationships. Do you think you do that consciously, uniquely well? It's like you multiply your relationships. It's either people like me or they don't like me. And I guess the people that continue to doing repeat business with us, I guess they do like us. Yeah. And Ian, for example, and the Perez family and many others, working with a company like Lennar, working with the Viette family, it's people that we have well-established relationship with, and they're ready to go with us to the next deal and to the next deal because they know that some of the things that we're doing were good and some of the things that we need help, and they come in
Right.
and they bring the help and the support. And I believe that you cannot do a good deal with a bad partner, but you're better off doing a bad deal with a good partner. And I always trying to find that good partner and that good deal together, because it doesn't make a difference how good is the deal if the partner is bad. And unfortunately, in my career today, being 50 years old, I had the opportunity working with partners that weren't so good. And it was some headaches, aggravations, arguments, and life is too short. Nobody have the time for this. We're not in the business to argue with people. We're not in the business of fighting with people. We want to have fun. We want to enjoy our families. We want to enjoy our wealth. We want to enjoy our business. We don't have time for bad energy.
Yeah. So something that's interesting is most people say, like, when you meet the people you admire and your heroes, you realize that they're just average people, just like you and I. But the more I chat with you and the more I talk to you, I'm like, Isaac is not an average person. It feels like you are on at 120% all the time. And the most recent example is when I introduced you to a gentleman that, a developer recently, and you called me. I told you, hey, I want to introduce you to so-and-so. I sent you that text at 9:00 at night. You're calling me at 9:30 at night after a dinner saying, yes, introduce me to him. Would love to chat with him. I send the email out, make the introduction. You reply to that email at 10:00 at night. That other developer replies at 10:30 at night. And it just seems like you're always on 24/7. We've had conversations that you send me something at 11 p.m. and we're still talking at midnight. And how were you always like that since you were 20, or did it speed up? Does it slow down?
Unfortunately, I dropped school when I was 15 years old. So I'm working since I'm 15. And I believe it's something that money never sleeps. It's like, I'm always working. Yeah. Thank God that I'm observing Shabbat. And this is the best 24, 25 hours that I have to spend time with my family. My phone is closed, no emails.
Yeah.
I get disconnected completely.
Wow.
But the remaining of the week, I would say that I'm working maybe 16, 17 hours a day. The people that knows me and very close to me, and you have the opportunity working with me, I don't sleep more than 4.5 hours a night. Anyway, so I'm always working.
24/7.
Always.
So talk to me. I want to talk about 2008, right? So clearly you're someone that's always taking you move quick, you take risks, you go all out. And like, how was 2008 for you? What projects were you doing? And like, how was that experience for you?
So we were finishing in 2007, a lot of residential projects, a lot of condo conversions, some development of projects. And then comes 2008 and like the whole world was falling apart. The whole world was melting. We had like a closing of a construction loan of a project in 2009, $180 million. The closing was scheduled in downtown Miami. At the same day, at 5:00 in the morning, a few hours before the scheduled closing, the lender filed for Chapter 11.
Wow.
This is like how bad things were. It's like government, the FDIC took over banks, Lehman Brothers, Bear Stearns. It's like the whole world was falling apart. And unfortunately, whoever was exposed to real estate, everybody got burned.
Right.
Some of the people got burned less. Some of the people got burned more. Yeah. But thank God, we managed and we're working hard. And my wife always pushed me, say, hey, this thing will change. It's not going to stay forever. We need to go to work. We have a big family. We have a lot of obligations. And thank God, very fast, the market here started correcting itself. Right. And at the end of the day, you know what they say, money talks and bullshit walks. Everything is coming to Florida.
Yeah.
At one point, the market in Florida was good. Then it was bad. And always people say, New York, New York, New York. Today we see what's going on in New York and all the smart money. And everybody wants to be here in Florida. We see companies relocating here. We see a lot of families are moving here. We see a lot of the buyers in our projects that are US based.
Right.
Years ago, it used to be 90% of the buyers used to be South Americans. Today we see 40, 50, 60% of some of the projects that are all US based. This speaks for itself when everybody wants to be here. We see a lot of people moving from California, Chicago, New York, and I think it's going to get stronger and stronger. A lot of companies coming here, relocating, signing 10-year leases. We own a few office buildings with some partners, and thank God we're fortunate to have very high occupancy. I don't know about buildings here in Florida that suffering from very low occupancy in office buildings. But on the other hand, you see in New York, like borrowers giving keys to lenders every other day on office buildings.
Yeah. What's interesting, and I think from like your lens and my lens, it's like people typically just see the big deal that closed and they'll have your name on it, you know, I'll be involved and things like that. But like in us closing those deals, or in you, for example, selling a lot of these condos with Related and your other partners, you're able to see the demand and the traction. So while other people are reading headlines, right? Like I can speak to myself, for example, I'm having conversations every day with a family office from Canada, from Turkey, from India, from Malaysia, and they want to be here. They want to be in Miami. And these are people with very deep pockets, right? Outside of the US, because the US typically, I mean, now you've got Stephen Ross here. You've got, you know, Richard Lefrak has made some big investments down here. So it just seems like Miami has had its ups and downs, but the ups are always higher than the previous high that Miami was at. And like, I don't think there's anybody more optimistic and bullish in South Florida right now than you are. And a lot of people would say that about me. So I guess talk to me, what do you think that's just so different? And I guess where do you see the opportunity in South Florida, given all the demand that's continuing to come down here?
You see people like Ken Griffin, Citadel, Steve Ross, that came from New York and like went all in on the West Palm Beach market. You see Jeff Bezos that announcing that he's moving here. Apple that just opening offices in Coral Gables.
Right.
And we see it like on a daily basis, like more and more companies. I just had a call with a big family office from Canada this morning that they're moving here because the government in Canada raised taxes to over 60%.
Wow.
It's like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And they all want to come here. They want to enjoy the weather. They want to enjoy the good life. It's a safe place, Florida. A lot of good restaurants.
Yeah.
And I think that this will get stronger and stronger. We will pass the election soon. Everybody's like waiting to see what's going to happen with this election. It's very interesting, but we are 5 months away from the election.
Big election.
And I think that after the election, the Florida market will continue to get stronger and stronger. The difference this time to other times, it's like 2015 or 2005 or 2000. It was a lot of speculators. People used to come to Florida, buy land, say, I'll get it entitled, I'll flip it, I'll sell it. Mm-hmm. Or condo buyers used to come in, put 5, 10, 15% deposit. Mm-hmm. By the time the unit will be ready, I'll flip it, I'll make profit. And guess what? Comes 2008, the market crash, and a lot of people saying, oh, I'm not going to close on the unit. I prefer to walk away from my deposit, or I'll fight with the developer over my deposit. A lot of the people that tried this trick to fight to get their deposit, they lost because it's not legal. And I'll tell you what, at the end of the day, what's going to happen is more companies will move here. Yeah. More buyers are coming here. This market is not only that it's here to stay and it's going to get stronger. Buyers are putting 40, 50% deposit on condominiums. Nobody's walking away from 40, 50% deposit. Companies are coming. They're not signing a 6-month lease. They're signing a 10-year lease on an office, which means that they're taking obligation. Prior years, it was all speculators. This time, we see it really. When you drive in downtown at night or sunny hours at night, you see all lights, you see a lot of action.
Supercars.
A lot of traffic. Restaurants are packed. This is not something that we saw before.
Yeah.
I'm here since 1999. I don't remember. It used to be like season of season. Now, Florida is the whole year is season.
24/7.
Yeah.
I was in Sunset Harbor. That's historically just been like a snowbird community in the winter. And it was packed during like a hot June, July. And I was like, this is incredible. You know, one of my cousins came to town from Honduras and same thing. I was like, there's probably not going to be much to do. It's July. We walked outside in Brickell. Everything was packed. You have to wait, 10, 20 minutes to sit down somewhere. And it's just incredible to see. So talk to me about your nose for real estate. Has that, clearly you're always learning, you're always talking, you're a super connector. I feel like if I ever reach out, do you know somebody that does this? I instantly get a contact. And when I reach out and say, I know Isaac, they treat me like royalty. So talk to me about your nose for real estate and how what you look for has changed over time.
The fact that I'm working since I'm 15 years old and I got a little bit of street smart and a little bit of experience and being out there and talking to people, talking to lenders, looking for opportunities. And I'm very, very focused. The fact that I'm very focused, we don't work in other states.
Yeah.
We're focused in the state of Florida. We always get opportunities in other states. And our answer is we're not buying outside of Florida. Mm-hmm. The fact that we're focused, the fact that we know a lot of people, the fact that we have a lot of relationship, the fact that we're focused, helping us a lot. If you'll bring me
compounds.
30 acres to build warehouses, I'm going to tell you it's not my business. Mm-hmm. But if you'll tell me that you have a 5-acre oceanfront property somewhere, this is things that turns me on, and I'll start the car, I'll go see the property, we'll do the due diligence, we'll check the market, comps, and it's either we will say yes very quick or we will say no very quick.
Right. It's so interesting that you say that, because it's true. Because your knowledge base is compounding on what you know on the condos and the rent, the multifamily and all these things. The way I see it is when I call you with a deal that's condo related, you already know what you can pay for that deal while we're having the conversation. So that we've introduced you to folks. I mean, we did one recently in the Diplomat where, like, on the call, you said, I can pay you this tomorrow. I could pay you this in 6 months. Like, you tell me how you want to do the deal. So I guess talk to me about like BH Group as a company. You know, I believe it's structured differently than a related group, than a Coulter Urban and things like that. So like, how have you structured and set up BH Group, and where do you want to take it if you want to take it anywhere else?
Small company, family owned business. Me and my wife are hands-on on everything. Some of the kids are starting to work with us. We have a small staff, people that really care, and they put their heart and soul into the business. But we like to do business with other partners that have the infrastructure, which basically we rely on their infrastructure. We rely on their expertise. We rely on their experience.
Right.
So once we identify the opportunity or we acquire the property together with a partner, then we sit down together and we brainstorm. Mm-hmm. What is the highest and best use for the property? Are we going to design a 30-story building? Are we going to design 15-story building? Are we going to sell 2,000 square feet units or 5,000 square feet unit? It's like about a year and a half ago, we had the opportunity and we acquired an incredible, irreplaceable piece of land in Fisher Island. When I worked on this deal, I was talking to myself and I said, no matter what, this property, we will get it. We will get it. We will get it. And guess what? We got it. We closed on the property in September of 2022. I remember the day I went to see the property with my wife. We looked at that. We were driving in Fisher Island. You understand that there is nothing like this.
Zero.
And I called JP. I told him, JP is George's son. JP is the president of the related group. And I called JP. I told him that I would like to meet with him. I explained him the opportunity. I told him that I can bring equity partner and investor that will buy the property with us. All the rest is history. JP liked the deal as well. We were putting a plan together. We got George involved. We got Nick involved. We got our financial partner involved. And at the end of the day, we closed on the property and we really love it. It's a unique piece of property, irreplaceable piece of property. And I wish that I can find more of this, but it's not existing. But at the end of the day this is what we want to find. We want to find the next irreplaceable piece of property. You and I worked on another deal a couple of weeks ago, another piece of land on the ocean in Northeast Florida. And I was trying to explain to everybody else why it's irreplaceable and why it's one of a kind.
Yeah.
And thank God that we're lucky and we completed the closing. We closed in a very short period of time, almost 7 acres on the ocean. You need to understand, Omar, God stopped producing properties on the ocean. Whatever was produced when the world was created, and that's it.
That's what we have.
Nothing else.
Yeah. I remember you told me, you're like, Omar, it's 6 acres on the ocean. The whole world can go away. And you'll still have 6 acres on the ocean 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now.
Listen, people coming to Florida for a reason. They want to enjoy life. Yeah. And if they can afford, they want to live on the water. Yeah. What's better than that, than having a condo on the water?
Nothing. It's incredible. So what are some of the projects that you have going on right now? And I know there is many that you're particularly excited about. You mentioned Six Fisher.
The truth is I'm excited on every deal that we're involved. I'm excited from Six Fisher Island, Ritz-Carlton residence in West Palm Beach, Icon Beach in Hollywood. Yeah, many of them. It's like every deal, if I don't have the passion, if I don't like it, we're not going to do it. Yeah. We're only doing deals because We like them. We believe in the location. We believe that this can be a great success. We want to get the opinion and the input of our partners. There is no partner to a deal that it's not a good one. So if I'm going to you, Mr. George Perez, and I'll sell you the best idea, but if you don't believe it, the site or the location or the vision, or can we get it entitled? Can we sell it this price per foot, or we cannot? Does the deal make sense or not? Once you're putting all these things together and the deal is working, then we're going to the next step. And I guess we have a lot of deals that we're in the next step. We're currently selling a few jobs that we got it entitled, that we acquired the land, that we spend a lot of time and a lot of money on it. Mm-hmm. And thank God we're doing very well. And we see a very, very healthy demand. More and more buyers are coming, locals, New Yorkers, Chicago, California, South America. We now see even downtown Miami, we see buyers coming from Turkey, buyers coming from the Middle East.
Everywhere.
So everybody want to be in Florida.
So this also, like, I'm assuming, drives your optimism for all these assets, for these locations, because you're seeing the interest and the demand that not only the condos that you and your partners are building, but also when you get a deal together, you have capital partners. And it seems to me like a lot of people want to be the ones investing with you. And it comes across as like, you know, I've got all this capital that wants to be in Miami. Clearly, I am betting in a ship that's rising.
Again, what's important is location and timing. And I think the fact that we know to find the right properties at a prime location and the timing is great. We all see what's going on in Florida for the last 5-6 years. And I think it's all working together. And the fact that we are involved in commercial properties, in retail, in office buildings, in residential, this gives us the opportunity to smell and to taste out of everything. Yeah. When we have office buildings, for example, this office building here in Aventura, we acquired this building with Related Group.
The one we're
sitting. We acquired this property 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the occupancy is close to 100% all the time. And not only that, we always get demand every week from more and more tenants that wants. Unfortunately, we don't have the space. Right. We have one tenant that came 2 days ago, a law firm, that they want 8,000 square feet. We don't have one space that it's 8,000 square feet.
Wow.
We closed with Peb Enterprises about a year ago on the Office Depot in Boca Raton, 650,000 square feet of office.
A lot of office.
29 acres on a golf course, Broken Sound Golf Course in Boca Raton, which is incredible market. It's like a crown jewel.
Yeah.
And guess what? We see a very, very healthy demand, and we will make some very big announcements very soon. In addition to announcements that we made with over 300,000 square feet at Office Depot, we will make a couple of big announcements very soon. And we see these tenants. We see them. The more they're coming. I don't know how many of them going to California or to New York or to Chicago, but we see them here and they keep coming.
Yeah, it's changing dramatically.
Yeah.
I make the joke that 5, 6, 7 years ago, when I'd be walking around in Brickell, the majority of people were just South Americans, you know, either there for vacation, there because they're in school. And now when I go in and out of Brickell, I'm meeting people from New Jersey, New York, Chicago, Boston, LA, San Francisco. And these people work at Citadel and Coinbase and Apple. And I'm just like, this was not Miami 7, 8 years ago. It's completely wild.
Absolutely. Like West Palm Beach offices getting for a new office space over $100, triple net.
It's wild.
8, 10 years ago, you couldn't give space away in West Palm Beach at $25 a foot.
It's crazy.
This explains you what's going on. And the state was not ready for this big boom. This is why you see heavy traffic. We need more good schools, more private schools.
Yeah.
You see very, very low vacancy on prime retail space. It's like there is no prime retail space.
Nothing.
Office buildings in good location, you cannot find office space. So all those things, putting them together, resi, retail, office, you're putting all these pieces as part of the puzzle and it speaks for itself.
Yeah. Is there anything in particular that you're excited about as it relates to like an asset class, right? So you've trafficked in retail and condo, office buildings. Is there any one that you either like more than the other, that you're more bullish on today than you are on other ones?
I'm bullish on waterfront properties. Mm-hmm. Again, it has to be AAA.
We've talked about this. You rather pay up for quality.
That's correct.
Than pay down for, you know, because a lot of other clients that I have, they want the the cheapest rent that will always be occupied in the, call it like a hairy deal, if you will. And you're like, no, I'd rather pay up for prime real estate. Has that always been the model?
Always the model. And not only always the model, we prefer to deal with quality and not with quantity. We don't need to close on 10 deals every week. We prefer to close on good deal every couple of months, but it's a deal that you cannot get another one. We acquired about 4 years ago with the Viette family, the former golf course, presidential estate golf course in Aventura, 104 acres golf course that it's closed, I think, since 2013. We knew from day one that we're taking a risk. We bought it with no entitlements, zoning issues. The homeowner association initiate litigation against the prior developers to make sure that nothing will get built. Guess what? Now, 4 years after, we got the project fully approved, fully entitled. The litigation was completely dismissed, 100% over. We're about to start sales in about 60 days for 103 ultra luxury single family homes. We selected as a partner Lennar, which is one of the biggest home builders and the best home builders in the country. And we have a super strong demand, very, very strong demand. Guess what? Show me another community in the area, 100 single family, where you can find this thing. No. You cannot find it.
Yeah.
So this is what we're focused on. We focus on buying the next diamond, the next one that nobody else can put his hand on it, and we can.
What do you say to someone that like listens to this interview, wants to be you in 30, 40, 50 years or whatever it may be, and like, doesn't have the ability to close on a $50 million land, right? Let's say myself, I'm a broker, right? So like I have cash, I have relationships. Well, what advice do you have to people that want to grow to be someone like you?
I never started with a $50 million deal. You have to start somewhere. And if you can afford to do $1 million deal or $2 million deal, George Perez never started with a $50 million deal.
Right.
Everybody starts somewhere. They start at the bottom and you're going up. But I believe that hard work pays off. Location, location, location. And I say timing, timing, timing. So you take the location, the timing, putting the whole plan together. You need to do the proper due diligence. Yeah. Make sure that you understand what you're buying. And if you're buying something with risk or with problems, that's okay, as long as you understand it in advance.
Problems. Right.
You don't want to discover the problems after you close on the property. You want to understand in advance, what are you buying? What are you getting? And it's okay sometimes to take risk, calculated risk, as long as you understand how you're going in, how you're going out. Who's my buyers over here? What is the due diligence? Can I sell here for $1,000 a foot? Can I sell at $1,500 a foot? What is the absorption? Can I sell 4 units a month? Can I sell 40 units a month? Who is the profile of the buyer? Is it a foreign national? Is it local? You need to put all this data together. And if you're comfortable with everything, and plus, don't be embarrassed, don't be ashamed to talk to others that more experienced than you, maybe more successful than you, and say, I'm looking at this deal. What do you think? And thank God that I'm fortunate to have good people around me, smart people around me. My wife, which is my best friend and my partner and everything, she has a very, very strong instinct like me. She has good instinct. When I take her to see a property, I say, Liat, what are you thinking? I love it.
And you're like, we're going for it.
We're in.
Omar, make the offer. That's incredible. So what do you look for, right? Like, let's say you're looking to hire somebody or you're looking for a new partner. What are things that you try to look for in partners or in people that you hire and things like that?
People with experience, people that are smart, people with knowledge, people with infrastructure. And
what do you avoid?
Trying to do business with people that I don't know or I don't trust, and I don't care how much money the deal will make, I'm not going to do it.
Can't do a good business with a bad person.
I prefer to do the business with people that I know, with people that I like, or with people that I trust, rather than going for the unknown. And maybe this unknown will make much more money faster, maybe next week or next month, but I'm not in the gambling business. And I don't want to try to gamble on the right partner or the right deal. We're in the real estate business, trying to be very focused.
What do you think about, I guess, some submarkets, right? Like we're in Aventura here at your office. Are there submarkets, Boca, Delray Beach? What are some submarkets that you love? Clearly, you're a bull on Miami and South Florida. What are some particular ones that you're really excited about?
I would say Dade, Broward, Palm Beach, east of I-95. If there is an opportunity for waterfront properties, intercoastal, ocean, downtown Miami, good product at a good location that we can do something different than others. You need to have the right story. Just buying a piece of land and just doing that, what everybody else is doing, not necessarily will be the right thing to do.
What are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned? It doesn't have to be one, it could be many, over, your career, where like maybe in 2005, 2010, you would do this, but now in 2020, you're not doing it as much.
So for example, when I was younger, 20 years ago, I wanted to do deals alone. Say no partners, I would do the deal alone. Today, I can tell you that if I have the opportunity to do a deal with a partner, I prefer we take less risk. We bring capital partner, so we take much less risk. Mm-hmm. We take a partner that can help us to execute, someone that we know, someone that we trust. So I don't want to keep 100% of the profit. Yeah. It's okay sometimes keeping 50% of the profit, but you're feeling better and you're feeling safe.
And then talk to me, I guess, right now, sort of like closing remarks. You said we've got the election coming up. Do you see the environment right now as one where you're opportunistically buying while a lot of people are like a little, slowing down? Or do you see it as, right now we've got our plates full and we want to see what happens after the election to then see if we buy more properties?
So first of all, it's important to preserve what you have and you don't want to risk what you have. So it's okay to stay focused. But I'm a deal junkie, so I'm always thinking about the next one. But what we see in the market for the last 12, 16 months between construction costs that are getting more and more expensive, interest rate that everybody thought that rates will come down 2 years ago, a year ago, and it's still not happening. Insurance cost, you're putting a lot of the things together. Developers that bought land and they thought that they're going to be able to get construction loan. Developers that bought land and thought that they can raise the equity and they couldn't. There is opportunities. You probably know it, but we're very, very active, especially the last 2 years. Yeah. We see an opportunity that if we can put our hand on a prime real estate and if we have the right partner, we're able to raise the equity. We're able to get good financing. And if this is a good location, most likely we will do the deal.
Why don't you do existing multifamily acquisitions? Like a lot of, it looks like a lot of the things that you do are development focused. There's a big value add to it.
It's not my risk profile. It's not something that I explain my investor. I didn't build the company by telling investor we're buying cap rates properties. We'll buy it at 5 cap. We'll sell it at 7, or we'll do. Our business model was always prime real estate, development, mixed use, something with big upside. What is the upside that I can tell my investors that we're going to buy a property at 6 cap and we're going to sell it in 3 years at 7, 7.5? It's nice, but
yeah. How do you juggle so much? You're the only, between Jared and I and our team, we close a lot of deals, fortunately. You're the only client that when we call to celebrate a closing, you say, I need the next deal. Where's the next deal? Send me more stuff.
So first of all, I love what I do. There is people that going to sleep at night and they don't want the morning to come.
Right.
Or they're looking for excuses why they're not going to go to the office. I go to sleep at night. I wait for the morning to come. And you know it that my morning starts very early. I start every day at 4:30, 5 o'clock, 5:30. And we're always working. We're full of passion. I want my kids to see it as well. I want my kids to understand that hard work pays off. Yeah. My wife, she's the only one that can keep up with me. We're together for 26 years now.
Amazing.
And my business model is the next deal. If I don't have the next deal, maybe I should retire.
And I guess that's as a closing remark, let's talk about family. You have 8 kids, you mentioned. Was that always the plan?
The truth is that I told my wife after 4 kids, Liat, let's take a break. And what she told me, says, what do you care? You're always working anyways. I want a big family. Don't worry about it. You can continue to work. I'll help you at work as much as I can, but I'll deal with the family. And you know what? She delivered. Whatever she promised, she delivered. Plus, she's an incredible mother. She's an incredible wife, an incredible friend and partner. I talked to her, but I almost have tears.
Yeah.
She's my everything.
That's amazing. I'm so glad you found me.
Yeah.
Isaac, I can't thank you enough for the time.
My pleasure.